Beautiful. But we can cast the ESL Masters EU replacement match. For those who don't know, MaxPax qualified for DreamHack Young shipping for ESL Masters, but unfortunately MaxPax isn't going to be there to participate. So there were a couple of matches played yesterday. Sorry, 2 days ago. They were played 2 days ago to see who would replace MaxPax and who will have the honor of being invited to and playing in ESL Masters EU, or from the EU region. So a couple of matches were played, and they actually weren't casted in English. They were casted in Polish. I think Indie covered them in Polish, but they were happening at the same time as WTL. So we were busy casting WTL at the time. So we do have replays available for that, and we may cast it at some point this week. We could cast it tonight, but I think I'm gonna sleep after this. I need some rest, Papi. I need some rest. As we are getting into our first semifinals and spawning in the top right-hand corner of Ancient Cistern, we have the South Korean Protoss player representing Team Abydos. It is NightMare. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Terran player. He is blue, currently teamless. It is GuMiho. We go NightMare versus GuMiho. The rematch is upon us. The last time they faced, NightMare took him down 2-0, but now GuMiho is looking for that revenge. Looking to gain back what he has lost. MMR? No. Money. As to be fair, both these players, because they made it to the semis, they will be walking away with some cash prize money, but they are still looking for some more. As they are fighting for those, for that final spot. But yeah, the ESL EU replacement matches, I'm considering casting them at some point this week. We do have a couple of slots available for another cast. But I'm also aware that I have been feeling a little bit burnt out recently. I've been talking to Kuro about it. Like, I've just been casting a lot, and it would be nice to focus on recovering a little bit. But we'll see when we do decide to cast it. Maybe tomorrow. Keep an eye on our social media. We will post on Discord whenever we do go live with it, and we'll make a TL event as well. Make an event on Team Liquid. So keep an eye out. As I believe it's going to be... Who are the 4 players? I think it's a Laser, Lambo, maybe Showtime, and maybe Skillus? I think it's a bunch of ZVPs. I don't think there's a Terran. Which I'm all for. I'm all for the ZVPs. You know me. I live for it, Papi. I live for it. So... I'll be all over that. I may drag... There's no Terran, so I may drag Asher into it just to be a little bit vindictive. Like, I'm like, Papi, you don't want to cast some high-profile EU matches? And he'll be like, oh, yeah, sure, let's go. And then when I lock him in, I'll be like, oh, by the way, there's no Terrans. Oh. And then Asher will smurge. But it's too late. He's locked in. The harness is on, Papi. The harness is on. So we'll see how that does come to pass, as we do have GuMiho going for a Rax expand into a Reactor, going to be delaying or skipping his SCV Scout, and Reaper Scout going for Reactor first, as he's sending his first 2 Reapers across the map. Depth is going to be threatening the natural, but what do we have at home to defend? We have a Stalker, and only one Stalker. Boy, the Reapers bypass the natural, they slip into the main base. NightMare none the wiser, and oh, he's going to be losing some workers. The boys, they go first round, but one probe already goes down. Up! And it looks like he'll just barely get the second probe for the cost of a Reaper, and there is no way out. The SimCity is too good. Both Reapers fall. 2 Reapers for 2 probes. I don't think that's quite worth it. At least GuMiho got a full scout off, but you could argue that 1 Reaper could have done the same. So a bit of a costly scout there from GuMiho. At least confirms it's a Twilight Council, not a Stargate, and that's quite important because we saw the last time NightMare was on Ancient Cistern, he did go for that Stargate opener into those Phoenixes. But GuMiho just wanted to make sure that he knew what he was up against. We can see NightMare is going into a 2-gate blink opener, which means we have a faster third base. So a very economic start here from NightMare. Not overly aggressive whatsoever. GuMiho doesn't know that though. He's aware of this. He's aware of the Twilight Council, but he doesn't know how many gateways there are. So GuMiho is setting up defensively back at home with bunkers, with tanks, getting ready for any kind of blink aggression. Meanwhile, we do have Blink finishing up, and before going into a Forge, we are going straight into Charge. Interesting here from NightMare, as he is quickly switching up his composition. We have our Gateway Explosion finally on the way, as we're setting up our third, and we're also getting into our Robotics Bay as well to get into our splash damage. So NightMare just has a lot of freedom right now. We can see GuMiho still being set up, a little bit paranoid about Blink Stalker aggression, just making sure he's safe against like a 3-gate or a 4-gate Blink opener. Even the Raven here, just in case the Observer does fly a little bit too close to the edge. Looking for any kind of high ground vision of NightMare. And because of all this paranoia, NightMare again is free to be relatively greedy. Get their third base up and running, get their production up and running, tech up as well. A lot of freedom is given here to NightMare, and with that freedom, we're even setting up scouting pylons all over the map. Observers, adepts, pylons, any kind of move out, any kind of drop should be scouted by NightMare. God, as this is getting a little bit out of control. We're just skipping into Disruptor production as well. Charge is done. Soon we should be seeing a Forge thrown down. As yet, NightMare has so much freedom. Behind this, GuMiho is throwing down a third CC, getting into his 5 Raxes, and now he can look to push out across the map. Now, even though for all this time GuMiho has been taking a pretty defensive position, now he can use that defense offensively. As we have 3 tanks, a Raven for disables, which means even if we have a Colossi or Disruptors, we have the Raven to try to counteract that with our spells. This move out is going to be quite devastating here. GuMiho does have the supply advantage. NightMare just waiting for a moment to warp in. He is going to come across the army. Ooh, doesn't quite get the tank, but does get it to half HP. Not a bad move here from NightMare. He's looking to slow this down. The first 2 Disruptors are already here. Oh my god. They're so quick. And here we go. The Novas, they go off. One of them gets disabled, but the other gets a massive connection on the tanks. Oh my god. Not just the tanks, but also the Marines. And NightMare just completely shuts this down. GG. Oh my god. Ah. GG, well played. In the blink of an eye, a massive Nova connects. We only had enough energy for 1 disable, and we did disable one of the Disruptors, but that's why NightMare sent out 2 shots. And with the death of that army, GuMiho had nothing left. He just traded so poorly, so inefficiently, that he would not survive a counterattack. GG. Oh my god. Yeah, NightMare was just in full control of that game. Oh, as we make sure we get Pig in here. Oh, that's Smudge. Aye. Okay, so apparently, I was just notified. Apparently, GuMiho, he did have enough energy for 2 disables, by the way. He did have 2 disables, but he disabled the same Disruptor twice. Oh, that's so Smudge, Poppy. That's so Smudge. Ah! Aye. With that, we're now going to be getting into game number 2 and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner. Bottom left-hand corner of Royal Blood, we have the South Korean Protoss player representing Team Abydos. It is NightMare. and spawning. In the top right-hand corner of Royal Blood, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Terran. Currently teamless, currently down 0-1 in this best of 3 series. It is GuMiho. Catching up in the chat as that one probe is being as annoying as possible once again. This one probe is a menace from NightMare, by the way. It's actually crazy. Get out of here. What is sleep? True. What is sleep, Poppy? What is it? I would like to know. I would like to be introduced to sleep. I'd like to have a good time with sleep. All night long. Por favor. Where did I get a sombrero? Just chill. We can fill in. True. We'll get like a voice to chat Twitch app going on, and chat can cast. Oh no. That's when chat whips out the copy pastas. Not like this. Dark's big sweaty arms. They're all around me. He's spanking me. Oh god. There's gonna be people hearing that and be like, what is he talking about? What? Is there like a dark copy pasta that I don't know about? The answer is yes. It's out there. It exists. And it's horrifying. It's beautiful. It's a work of art, really. If you haven't seen it before, you're missing out. As GuMiho is going for another Rax Expand opener. Delaying that second gas and going for that CC, but NightMare is unaware. NightMare, because he was forced out of the main base, I believe, yes, he did not see the gases, he didn't see the CC. NightMare doesn't really know what's going on as that probe was forced away. So it could be an economic opener, it could be a more aggressive opener, for all NightMare knows. Yeah, the Zerg is going for the Nidus. You could put duck noise over the game and I would still watch. Oh, quack, quack. That's a fun fact. We've really thought about that. I've thought about I would love to have pet ducks one day. I have pet ducks. We'll have a duck cam for the stream. We'll maybe post some like duck updates on Twitch and sorry, on Twitter and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't really have the facilities to like, have a pet. Not right now, anyway. Maybe one day. Oh, this is a pretty important scout from NightMare. He moves out with his Adept. Does catch a Marauder already here from GuMiho. Trying to catch his opponent off guard. So the goal here of these Marauders is ideally you catch a Stalker. Ideally you catch a Stalker out on the map, and you're able to shut it down and punish the Protoss player for being a little bit too assertive initially with those scouting units. But last it was an Adept. Now NightMare is fully aware. He's throwing down his shield battery back at home, just preparing for any kind of Marauder base push. As the Marauders are just scouting. They're turning back around, going back home. We're switching out of Marauder production back into something a little bit more standard, into Widow Mines, into that Starport. It looks like we're going to be going into a mine drop. There we go. Medevac is on the way. Just a headset with a little chest quacking. Beautiful. Quack, quack, quack. Oh, ducks are cute. Ducklings are amazing. One day when I'm old, when I'm retired, I'll have a duck farm. It'll be beautiful. Quack. As we're getting into this 2-1-1 setup here from GuMiho, making an abundance of Marines already. My god, you even have a third Rax behind this. Meanwhile, the mine drop is zooming across the map. There is no armory with this. Detection will not be required, but the mine is headed towards that natural. Oh boy. And how fast can NightMare react? As the drop comes in, we do have NightMare immediately dive on top of the Medevac, but here we go, the mine drops! The mine shots even. Oh no! Oof. 5 probes go down, a very chaotic moment there for a moment, but it looks like the mines are going to get cleaned up. We just see one of them trying to scuttle away, but no, it will be hunted down. Up. Oof. So 3 Widow Mines and a Medevac for 5 probes. Not too bad. That was almost horrible, by the way. We saw the last second split from NightMare. That was almost the worst mine shot, or the best mine shot imaginable. Oh. This NightMare does survive. But at least GuMiho was able to get a bit of a scout off, confirm the saturation, confirm the gases, the robo as well. We can see NightMare, just like the last game, getting into his gateway explosion. We have charge on the way alongside the robotic spay. Nothing too crazy. See the chat. The Ducks will have to live on 2-minute noodles. Oh, true. No. I'll live off of the 2-minute noodles. The Ducks, they can live off of something a little bit more fancy. They'll get the good stuff, Poppy. They'll get the premium quality peas, the best peas. Yo, have you guys seen ducks eat peas? Like, they go crazy for it. It's wild. As yeah, this is looking pretty similar to NightMare's game against, game 1 against GuMiho, his series against Bjorn as well. We do have disruptors already on the horizon here for NightMare. GuMiho looking to push out much earlier than he did previously. As he does, Blink Stalkers do get into the main base, and they will be able to get a couple of SCV kills. Not too many, as we do have some reinforcements, and there we go, we do force a recall. As GuMiho is focusing on his push, we've got 2 tanks, we've got 2 Marauders, and a massive amount of Marines. Stim is done, as well as +1. But we have that Disruptor, and this time, no disables. Oh no! Oh my god, the target firing was so close there. The Nova doesn't go off, but we have the overcharge nonetheless. The Bio army is running thin. But a very clutch snipe on that Disruptor. You see reinforcements coming across the map. Is this enough? Can GuMiho break on through? That second Disruptor was heavily delayed. The shield battery will go down, and it looks like GuMiho has a little bit too much momentum. He sieges up his 3rd tank in range. NightMare, he's just biding his time. He's waiting for the moment. Here we go, the Disruptor comes out. No! Once again, he gets targeted down, and that may just be it. He was just banking so much on that Purification Nova. It's far too much. Every single Stalker goes down. GuMiho has broken through. The 3rd base will fall. And soon, everything else. A couple of Zealots are going to be able to get us around. And hey, they get the tanks at least. But we're losing everything else. We're losing everything else. It was that one Disruptor. We talk about it all the time. High risk, high reward. The risk was great. The reward, not so much. Not this time. As we see a scan just confirming what kind of army we're facing. GuMiho laying siege upon that Twilight Count. Sorry, that Cybercore. Oh, that's unfortunate. And NightMare is just going to be soaking this in. I mean, like, he was up against, like, a relatively heavy 2-base all-in. We do have a 3rd CC behind this, but it's quite delayed. NightMare still potentially has a chance to clean this up. Getting a 3rd base behind this. Relatively even in workers. As we are setting up our surround. And here we go. NightMare is coming in from behind with the Nova. And it looks like this time it won't connect. Hot pickup. Another Nova as well. Better connection there this time, but we did lose another Disruptor. I loved the setup from NightMare. It was amazing. It was beautiful. GuMiho just backs off for a moment, just to wait for some reinforcements. If you put a few veggies in the noodles, it's classy. True. Does rank up quite a bit. NightMare is still trying to survive here on 2 bases, but he's falling further and further behind. 3rd base has been spotted. Is there a world where NightMare comes back in this game? If he can somehow land the juiciest Purification Nova, move out with the Colossi, snipe that lib. It's not the Nova we're looking for. Then maybe he can pull this off. As here we go, we blink on forward. The tank is within range. We force the blink out of NightMare, and it looks like once again there is too much bio on the ground. Overcharge is going to try and keep the Colossi alive, but we have too many Marauders. The DPS is too damn high as the Colossus does fall. Ooh. Another massive Nova. NightMare just fueled by all the copium, the hopium in the world. But it's not enough. It's not enough, man. Oh, GG gets called, and we are going to the ace match. GuMiho takes game number 2, tying it up 1-1. Pets are high maintenance. Yeah. Like I'm fully aware. Like I would love a pet, but I also know that I don't have the resources or the time to invest into looking after a pet right now. Not right now, at least, but one day, I'm sure. As we are going to be getting into the ace match. Oh boy, once again it came down to 1 Nova, 1 Disruptor. That's all it took, and yeah, this time GuMiho was able to snipe it in time, and now we're going to be getting to game 3. Game 3 will be taking place on Babylon. Let's go. Oh, good. Alright. Meanwhile, as we get into this, have we had any other updates in the brackets? Has the lower semis already begun? Is it underway? The answer is yes. Oh, very interesting results here. This just in, it looks like Estrella took down the Dong himself, the one true Dong, in Dong Regu, 2-1. And Estrella moves on to the semifinals to face off against Dark in a PVZ. Oof, spicy. As we have our own spicy matchup, because spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Babylon, we have the South Korean Protoss player representing Team Abydos, who's been on fire recently but struggling a little bit in this series. It is NightMare. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Babylon, we have as opponent, we have the South Korean Terran player fighting back in game 2, making a series out of this, forcing the ace match. It is GuMiho. The Gumi god himself. The Tal Terran. The man with a plan. At times. And we'll see how this does unfold. Where will you take us? Can't believe my eyes. 10 million fireflies. Oh. Ace match, Bobby. Let's go. Let's go. Just making sure you stretch. Everyone, posture check. No slouching in the chat. Making sure we're looking after ourselves as we get into this. Once again, GuMiho, no SCV scout from him whatsoever. He's going to be delaying that Reaper scout as well as he goes for a reactor first. Not the first time we've seen this series, as I believe this will be for double Reapers. Didn't have the most success with this. The last time we saw this, if you recall, was shut down without getting too much damage done, but we'll see how GuMiho is able to control these units in game 3. Likewise, NightMare, for the first time this series, has actually opted not to go for a probe scout. He is not really too concerned with what GuMiho is up to, he is just focusing on his own Gate Cybercore Expand setup. Love to see it. Actually, I think it might have been a Gate Expand even. They've been a little bit greedier here from NightMare. Meanwhile, GuMiho, interesting, is going to be skipping the Reapers and he's going to be going straight into Marine production instead. Okay. Marines are commencing. We'll have quite a number of them as we get into this game. This could lead into a bit of an earlier push as well. Oh no, the Artosilope! Or the... whatever was here. Was it the... it was like a bird, right? The bird. This... that's an adept. Hold on. We're looking for it. What was just killed? This! The urubu. The ubu. The bird. GuMiho, so heartless. My god. We were just talking about pets. We were just talking about ducks. GuMiho comes out and shoots one down. My god. Yeah, and it just goes to show that GuMiho does mean business this game. As the Marine count is getting higher and higher, we're working on our mines as well to set up that drop. Drop not necessarily designed to do too much damage, but at least designed to scout and figure out what's going on, as NightMare is going for a Stargate opener. Phoenixes this time. No Big Stalkers. No Twilight Council. As the Marines are spotted here at the natural. Fully aware of what's going on. Hasn't seen the main yet. For all NightMare knows, this could even be a 3-axe opener, so NightMare does have to get confirmation of what is happening. GuMiho going to be repositioning his army as well. Moving out, going to be skirting along the edge of the map, and it looks like NightMare will spot the Marine move out. We'll see it coming. NightMare is going to be able to slow this down. We have some shield batteries on the way. We're going to be able to warp him back at home as all the Adepts are looking to meet up with those Marines. And these are vanilla Marines as well, so we're going to have a hard time trading against these initial Adepts. Oh. One Marine almost goes down. And we have that mine drop coming in as well, so this is going to be hitting together actually. The mines are going to be looking to connect and land on top of this army, and the Marines are looking to clean up. Oh, the mine shots don't quite go off. One mine shot will connect with the army. Overcharges pop for the Marines. They bypass the army and they go straight for the mineral line. Oh my god. It's going to be a one-way trip. The medevac will go down, not before getting a Phoenix. Ooh. And at the end of this, what was our trade looking like here? As we traded 10 Marines, a medevac, and 3 Widow Mines for 5 probes, 2 Adepts, and a Phoenix. So overall, I would say a better trade for GuMiho. He did lose a lot of Marines, sure, but killing those workers is more valuable at this point. We don't really care too much about losing and throwing away man with gun. Getting the Phoenix as well, I'm sure, is quite big, quite huge. So very nicely done there by GuMiho. Obviously, he could have done a little bit more. We could have seen maybe a juicier mine shot and more zoning as well. But regardless, I'm sure he's very content with the execution of that opener. It's really interesting because typically we see that kind of build, but with Hellions instead of Marines, where the mines open up the front door and the Hellions dive on forward. But this is done in a bit of a different way. Yeah, pretty creative. Meanwhile, the Raven is still alive and sneaks out across the map, somehow makes its way into the mineral line, and it will force some lost mine time. Gets probe kill as well. 2 probe kills even. We do see the Phoenixes are trying to get through, and they will shut down this Raven. But some nice damage was done. 2 probes, lost mine time. Not bad, not bad. Was it worth a Raven? I don't know. Not sure about that one. As back at home, GuMiho is setting up here with his 5 Raxes. This time we do have a 3rd CC on the way, so no big committed 2-base push like we saw in game number 2. This time we do have a faster 3rd setup. Swan on the way, stim, combat shields. And with gun have no respect for the animals, true. Not like this. GuMiho is moving out with his 2nd wave. Behind this, he's getting his third base up and running. The move out was spotted by this observer, and with that, NightMare knows he has free reign of this mineral line. SCVs will be falling left and right. He's heavily reliant on his disruptors once again to defend back at home. This time, there is no Raven. GuMiho, he scans, he sees the army, and he wants none of it. And GuMiho will back off. I definitely respect that decision. Meanwhile, NightMare may have lost some workers earlier, but now, with killing these 6 SCVs, he's able to reciprocate that damage. Who even takes out the Widow Mine in the middle of the map. Up! Thankfully, this time GuMiho was paying attention, and he does spot that observer. Does snipe it in the end. Denying more of that vision of NightMare. Behind this, NightMare getting fully saturated on these 3 bases, getting our 2nd robo up and running. Soon we should be getting into Colossi production, and that disruptor count is getting higher and higher. Solid EMP on those Phoenixes. It's going to render them pretty useless for a while. We're only going to be able to shoot up for the time being. But how many disruptors do we have? We have 4, about to have 5 disruptors already. Oh, as the army gets baited on forward, a massive bait there from GuMiho. He's able to shut down this army, takes down the Immortal, and so many Stalkers. 5 Stalkers go down. That was not worth the Cyclone. A beautiful setup by GuMiho, and NightMare was just not expecting that at all. Oh, at the same time, another EMP on these Phoenixes. One of them almost goes down. NightMare is very vulnerable to a counterattack right now, and GuMiho, he knows that he's moving out. NightMare backing off entirely, just trying to get his 4th base up and running. We do see GuMiho hasn't pulled the trigger yet. He's working on +2. He's saturating his 3rd, building up that ghost count. As GuMiho now has the map control. NightMare, unlike some of his other matches, especially against Bjorn, NightMare just, doesn't really have too much going for him here. He's got a couple of units here and there wherever he can, but for the most part, he's being forced back. We do have a couple of disruptors being set up, but doesn't go for it. Oof. So do force a stim out from GuMiho. A second Nova gets wasted, though. Not ideal. At the same time, NightMare is fighting on a knife's edge right now, just relying on these disruptors. And once again, he wasn't looking. All 3 disruptors go down in the blink of an eye, and that may just be it. GuMiho's pushing on forward. We only have a couple of disruptors left. At the same time, GuMiho is coming in from behind. Oh my god, and we just aren't getting the connections we need. Friendly fire as well from NightMare. He is falling apart. Things just getting far too chaotic, far too quickly. That was a kill, not a cancel on the 4th base. NightMare's army was looking insane, but the multi-prong aggression was just too much for him to handle. And just like that, GuMiho has doubled the army supply. We are knocked down to only 4 disruptors. GuMiho just flexing his multitasking. And what can we really do from here? I mean, NightMare, he's got the Dark Shrine. He's got Blink on the way. It can help him come back. And to be fair, because we have these disruptors, even though NightMare has half the army supply, can he take a fight? Barely. Probably can, actually. Yeah, you know what? Actually, NightMare, he's winning. Oh god, but no, he is up against the ropes right now, and he does have to be very careful with how the next couple of moments do pass. GuMiho getting ready for another force here on the right-hand side of the map. Nova goes off, and GuMiho is paying attention. The Nova doesn't connect with anything. We have a second one. Once again, just zones away the army. GuMiho, he dives into the natural base. Ooh, force fields will keep him back. A good trade overall here from NightMare. Great use of his spellcasters as well. But can he do it again? Because GuMiho is looking to push into that 4th base. We do have 2 disruptors waiting for him. GuMiho has to respect that. Be rotating around, shocking around at that base. Wants to push on in. The disruptors have backed off, actually, so I'm a little bit concerned, as most of the disruptors are at the natural instead. Liberators have sieged up, and there is no answer for the libs. Oh my god, a massive EMP. Never goes off, does get a ghost at least. The Phoenixes have made their return. Oh, but GuMiho is coming in from behind. We do have another Nova going off with the splits are too good. Doesn't connect with anything. As the rest of the disruptors have arrived, but the 4th base goes down. GuMiho, he doesn't have to commit. He knows he just takes a good trade and backs off, luring NightMare out into the open, where he's able to just stim on forward. Oh my god, the target firing. 2 more disruptors, 3 more disruptors go down. Another massive connection will go off, but 1 is not enough. 2 is not enough. 3, Not enough either, as it only gets a single Marine. And GuMiho will not stop. He had a rough start to this series, but again, because we're so heavily reliant on disruptors, God, it's just so risky to play with them. It's so risky to try to deal with this multi-pronged aggression with them. Sometimes it just doesn't go for your way. This GuMiho was too quick, too fast. The fourth base goes down again for a second time. NightMare forced to expand on the right-hand side. Still barely has an army, and GuMiho, he wants to take the fight. He sims on forward, gets punished for it, but he doesn't care. He has more than enough remaining. GG gets called, and GuMiho will take the series 2-1, getting his revenge for last week. GG. GG, well played. GuMiho advances on to the grand finals, where he's going to be waiting for his next opponent. And who's it going to be? It's going to be either an American Protoss or a South Korean Zerg. As Dark vs. Estrella is currently ongoing. And I believe it's being casted by Steadfast, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just double check. Is. Oh, it's being casted by both Steadfast and by Artosis as well. Yeah, GG, well played. Very well done there by GuMiho again. NightMare looking powerful in Game 1, but both in Game 2 and Game 3, there were just moments where he had to be paying attention. He needed some good purification overs, but alas, the snipes were too good from GuMiho. He was able to shut them down before they got too out of hand. And yeah, really well handled by GuMiho. Really solid control and micro. NightMare just not up to the task here today. Not up to the task after facing Bjorn. Maybe he spent a lot of his energy and stamina on Bjorn. Didn't have enough left over for GuMiho. So GG, well played. With that, again, we have GuMiho in the grand finals, and he's waiting for Dark vs. Estrella. Currently, Dark is up 1-0, and he's facing Estrella in a best of 3. In game number 2, and I think Dark is going to take the 2-0. I'll be honest, Papi, I'll be honest. Yeah, Dark is looking in form. He is looking dominant here against Estrella. So we're going to be going on a short break. When we return, we'll most likely have the grand finals. If Estrella is somehow able to bring this back, then maybe we'll slip into the ace match. Maybe we'll slip into game 3. Maybe.